Okay, so today we're going to make a sourdough loaf. It's going to be based on Nevin Maguire's sourdough recipe. So first we get our bowl and our weighing scales, and then we're going to put in 375 grams of strong white flour, 10 grams of salt, fine sea salt, 250 grams of sourdough starter. I've made a separate video about how to make a sourdough starter. Go and check that out on my YouTube channel, how to make a sourdough starter. So 250 grams of starter, and then I'm going to put in 200 grams of water. I'm putting in some walnuts as well. I'm just crushing some walnuts, and I'm going to put in a tablespoon of honey as well. You don't need to put in the walnuts, you don't need to put in the honey, but it gives it a very nice flavour, and I like honey in particular. So that's my 200 grams of water. I'm going to mix the whole lot up now. I'm going to mix it up and I'm going to knead it for a little bit, and then I'm going to leave it in the bowl for about half an hour, and then I'm going to come back to it and do some stretches and folds. You'll see what I mean shortly. So I'm going to do a little bit of kneading for a couple of minutes only, and then I'm going to leave it in the bowl for about half an hour. And then I'm going to come back to it and I'm going to stretch and fold. It for about half an hour or so, and now I'm going to do some stretching and folding. That basically means I just pull the dough back like so and stretch it over itself, and I'm going to do that maybe 10, 20, 30 times just for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to put the tea towel back on top of it and leave it again for about 2 hours. And I'm going to come back and do another set of stretch and folds and leave it for another 2 hours, and come back and do another set of stretch and folds and leave it for 2 hours.
The Minister for Media, Catherine Martin, has requested to meet the chairperson of the board of RTE, Siúní Rahilly, and the incoming Director General, Kevin Bathurst, in the coming days, following revelations about RTE's internal financial accounting and governance practices. Among the issues, it's understood the Minister is seeking.
The European Games in Poland today, where Ireland compete in the triathlon mixed relay, the canoe slalom and kickboxing. Having Paddy Harrington and Jack Barry in the finals of the respective boxing categories. Shamrock Rovers lead at the top of the SRG at 60 men's television is down to 4 points after they were beaten Skilling by Dundalk last night. And Castle up to second after a 7-0 win against UCD. Earlier down to third after going 1-all with Kelvin. Elsewhere, Sligo beat both Kilburn and Cork and Gather 1 and Longford host Wexford at 7:30 tonight. The final
Latest part of this case. January was different.
Okay, it's about 5 hours later now, and I've done all my stretching and folding. I've left it for about 5 hours, and now I'm going to just sprinkle some dough, dust the countertop, and I'm going to dust the top of the dough as well, and I'm going to take it out with my little scraper, and I'm going to pre-shape it. So I'm going to pre-shape the dough, and I'm going to leave it rest for about an hour again. So I've pre-shaped it and I've left it for about an hour, and now I'm going to shape it and put it in the Banneton basket, and then I'm going to stick it in the fridge. I'm going to stick it in the fridge overnight. So I put flour into the basket to make sure that it doesn't stick, and then I'm going to shape it again, give it one final shape, pull it back into itself, get it into as tight a ball as I can, and then put it in the basket, put a plastic bag on it, and stick it in the fridge overnight. I'll just stick a plastic bag on it there now, and I'm going to put it in the fridge. It's around about 12 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'm going to leave it in the fridge overnight and take it out Sunday morning then to bake. Okay, it's Sunday morning now, and I'm going to preheat the oven at about 230 to 250 degrees Celsius. I've got that Dutch oven thing, that Le Creuset pot, leaving it in for about half an hour to pre-shape. Then when half an hour has elapsed, I will, to preheat rather, to let Le Creuset preheat. Then I'm going to take out my dough out of my fridge, and I'm going to put a little bit of baking parchment paper on a chopping board and invert it like that. Take out the dough, and then I'm going to score it so that when it hits the oven and the heat hits it, it's going to spring up, and you're going to see really good oven spring. So that's the plan. You can score it any way you like. I tend to do that one, just a square with a star in the middle of it, but you can do it any way you like. You could do crisscross or trellis or whatever. I'm going to stick it in now, and I'm going to bake it at 230 degrees Celsius with the lid on for half an hour. And then after half an hour, I'm going to take the lid off and bake it for a further 15 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. And then we should have a nice sourdough loaf. This particular one is a wholemeal sourdough starter. So I've done it for half an hour with the lid on. I've taken the lid off now, and here it is. It's still pretty pale, but it's sprung up well, and now I'm going to leave it for 15 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. And now we've got a nice sourdough loaf to take out of the oven. This is the best part. Well, it's the second best part. The best part is slicing it and having lunch with it, or perhaps having a bit of honey on it, or having a nice fresh sandwich for lunchtime. You always test the bottom of it, the harder the better, to see that it is actually fully baked. And there you go, there's my sourdough loaf. I'd appreciate if you hit the like button if you find the video useful. Thanks a lot.